Now, many of the students and trade unions who've been demonstrating over the past week seem to have missed their targets entirely. Take the students, for example, calling on the university administrations for fee-free education. And then, of course, the trade unions calling for decent work, and decent work meaning permanent work with good pay, good benefits, etc., from the private sector. At the same time, there was one common denominator among them. We kept hearing bandied about the term white monopoly capital. It featured on both sides. But you know, capital has nothing to do with melanin. The only colour that capital knows is the colour of money, quite honestly. And the private sector is not in the business of creating decent work. It's not the nature of the system. We have to be realistic. I'm not making a moral judgment or anything. It's a simple fact that capital exists within our society, a competitive society where profit is the priority. There is no way that employers are going to employ more labour than is absolutely necessary for the job in hand. And they're certainly going to try, it's in their interest to try to get away with paying as little as possible. As regards the students, of course, the university administrations really have nothing to do with the levying of fees, the level of fees. That is something that government subsidies provide for. And over the years, the recent years, and certainly, government subsidies have declined steadily. You know, the government should be paying more towards students. And as we've said in the past, and I said last week, the government keeps saying they don't have the money, but the money does exist. However, what has now emerged out of both these protests, these demonstrations, these marches, is that the government does not seem to be responsive to the people. But that's very simple, because we do not have a government that is by the people, for the people, the classic example of democracy. We have not even a partial democracy. I would even describe it as a farcical democracy because of our parliamentary list system, coupled with private funding to political parties. This is how corruption creeps in. It's a recipe for patronage, for nepotism, and all other forms of corruption. Secret funding creates indebtedness by those who govern us, and who pays the piper calls the tune. Anyway, that will be the focus of my Inside Labour column, which you can access on this platform, Fin24, tomorrow, and a version of which will appear in the business section of City Press on Sunday. Until then, it's over to you. I'm sure you have plenty of comments to make about what has been going on lately, particularly on the campuses, but also with the unions and their demands for decent work. Let's hear from you. Just send in your comments, your criticisms, your suggestions to editor@fin24.com. That's editor@fin24.com. And for this week, that's all from me. Cheers.